All right. It looks like I'm live. Can y'all hear me all right? Let me check my mic. There's always something. All right, let me check my speaker. No, it's not. All right, hold on. Cool. Awesome. What's up, D Nazilla? How you doing, man? Appreciate you coming out. Um yeah. What was I doing? What am I even here for? Oh yeah. Uh I okay, awesome. Y'all can hear it. Cool. Um, yeah. Uh, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, usually I start off the stream like trying to get everything like sending out the link and putting it out everywhere, but it's I already did all that. So I'm good to just get started right now. Let me go to my page, the page for Air Rider. Let me see. Here we go. Share screen. Let's go. Entire screen window, Chrome tab. I need to actually pull up the tab. All right, here we go. Share screen. There we go. Share. Dope. All right, we are $11 away from actually reaching $1,000, and we have 27 backers and 11 hours to go. This actually ends at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So you have until then to back the project. But I'm actually wondering if I should do, what do you call it? Late backers. If I should flip up the switch to allow people to back late. They recommend increasing the price by like 10% for late backers, but I don't know if I want to even do that in the first place. I don't want to keep hyping up this campaign, but then at the same time, it's like there's a chance for more money, but then it's like maybe I might miss some potential backers or not get notifications. This doesn't Kickstarter didn't really send out notifications for anything, but we are almost there. Um, I'll just go ahead and play the trailer, and we'll go from there.
They broke her wrist, and now they'll pay. Eric Volgin seeks
Can
to
y'all hear it?
destroy June's masked attackers, but he needs to find them first. Only one kid has access to that info, but he won't give it up without a fight. What happened in the ensuing confrontation? The ending will knock you flat. Air Rider number 2 will also come with a 6-page bonus collaboration with a certain purple alien creation from the mind of Zachary Morois, a Hubert School alum with a wild imagination. With Air Rider High School Hero, the 90s and early 2000s era of cartoons and anime is coming back with a vengeance. Take flight with Air Rider High School Hero today, only on Kickstarter.
All right, dope. So yeah, that was the trailer. I made that in like 2 days, where I was just compiling footage, screenshotting like comic pages, and then putting it all in my editing software to get it done. But I had kind of a template, kind of um a blueprint from doing the last trailer, and I just used the same music and tried to do the same like voice thing that I did with the last video. So that was pretty cool. What's up, Cobus? Look at how you doing, man? Great campaign. Glad you're able to get funded again. Yeah, man. I was actually shocked that it didn't fund like super fast like the first time. But what they say is on the second campaign, you'll see who's actually really messing with your book, like who's really is a fan of the book, and it just shows. in the second campaign, because everyone in the first campaign is most of the people in the first campaign backing is going to be your friends and family and all that stuff. So I got a lot of funding from friends and family on that first campaign, but I didn't want to reach into the same well twice. You know what I mean? You don't want to keep pushing it like that if they gave you money for the first campaign. So I fulfilled that first campaign, and this second time around is just I did a lot less marketing and pushing it out on social media. Man, I got burned out from that first time doing it, and I think I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on into the stream. But let's see, maybe like a week extension. But if you've been doing the campaign for a long time, it might be unlikely for it to gain any more traction. Yeah, that's why they say like 30 days is a good time frame, because it gives like 2 pay cycles for people's usual pay from their job. Like oh shit. Hey, let's go. We got to 1,000, man. Nice. Appreciate it. 28 backers. Awesome. Who was that? You say you just donated or you just donated, Koba? And Nightingale loves comics. Good evening. How you doing? Awesome. What did you say? Yeah, they say like $30 or 30 days is a good time frame, because it will show like who is actually interested within that time frame of backing your book. But then it's not too long, not too short. It gives people like 2 pay periods to actually like everyone who's interested to jump on board before it ends. And usually people jump on right at the very beginning and then right at the very end, but just before it ends. So it's good to have a definitive like time frame for that stuff. And that's why I keep it at 30 days, because I don't want to spend like 60 days trying to hype up the same campaign and be like, hey, buy my book. And I get tired by like day 40 or something like that. I'm already tired just doing this one, because the first one was actually a year that I was planning in advance to get it off the ground, get people interested in the story, and get people wanting to buy the first book. And then the 30 days of actually like putting it out there or putting it out on social media was so intense, because I was constantly every day. I was actually really on top of it that first time, because I was making YouTube videos every single week. I was making um like shorts. I was trying to do contests. I was doing everything I possibly could to make sure that that first campaign didn't fail and would actually succeed, because I just didn't want to. I didn't want everything that I learned to go to waste in terms of what I learned using Comics Launch, and I also didn't want to look like a failure. You know what I mean? I didn't want that first campaign to just be like, oh yeah, nobody backed. I wonder why. You know what I mean? Like I did it to the I made sure I covered all my bases so that everyone would at least have some awareness of the campaign and then back if they were interested. Koba's Lookout, he says, ready to see issue 3 and the future of the series. Yeah, I have some pages from issue 3 on here. It's where did I put them? I think they're a little bit lower. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I put here's a couple of pages from issue 3. Yeah. People say they like this character, but I don't know why. Anyways, yeah, these are like 3 pages from issue 3, and issue 3 has been taking me a long time just because I've always had some sort of awareness of how fast I should draw to get my workout, but I didn't really have confidence in drawing quickly because I didn't know how skilled I was on a regular basis. So once people told me, once I got my portfolio reviewed at a convention, and they said, yeah, this is like close to professional quality, or this is professional quality stuff, just work on your hands, work on rounding out the forms on things, don't make them too, what's the word, don't flatten them out and stuff like that. And I was just like, all right, cool, if that's all I need to do, then I'll keep going with that. Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing, man? Appreciate you coming in, dude. And all that, man. Congratulations on Dream Match Revolution. It was great to see that get funded, and I can't wait for my digital copy on that. What else was I talking about? I was talking about the issue 3. When did I start issue 3? Issue 3 is I literally have the pages like right here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Is that no, it didn't get too bad. Yeah, I have issue 3 just sitting right here, and I've been working on it since maybe 2022, or was it before then? I think the very first pages of issue 3, I got them started at the end of 2021 when I finished issue 2. And because I just had this like perfectionist mentality for the longest time, I would be doing all the perspective by hand and trying to draw everything on the Bristol board pages so that I would always have the physical work on hand to put out there. And there's literally like, whenever I look at the benefits of, let me put something more appealing on the screen. All right. Whenever I look at the benefits of doing digital, hey, what's up, Massive Panda? You weren't late. You we just started like 12 minutes ago, but yeah, man. Really appreciate you in the comments every time I do a post. Thanks for coming out, dude. And what was I talking about? Oh yeah, issue 3. This was the first page of issue 3. That okay, let me make my screen bigger. Let's see. Stop screen. Damn it, deleted it. I didn't want that to happen. Okay. So this is the first page of issue 3. And I really should date these things because I don't know when I actually drew this, but it was a long time ago. It was probably in 2020, at the end of 2021. And I was just like, all right, I got the story written out. It's interesting to me. But then the story kept changing like over time. And then I met people who gave me advice on how to make it better. And then I was just like, okay, I got to change a couple things. And then slowly, little by little, I just eked out more pages. Let me just show you what I've got here. Little by little, I just kind of eked out more pages. And it's almost done. Like I've done more pages, I think, in the last few days, in the last week, than I have like all of last year, literally. Because last year I was just learning marketing and trying to figure out how to get attention for the book, be on social media, and do all that stuff. And then I figured it out, and I was just like, wow, I don't need to draw anymore. I could just I could just focus on this marketing stuff and YouTube and all that, and I'll get famous like that and all that. It was just a pain to learn all that stuff. And now it's like, okay, if I actually want to make this a real thing, I should draw faster, like way faster than I currently am. So that's what kind of lit the fire under my butt. Along with hold on one sec. Hey, what's up, Leo Dog? How you doing? Appreciate it. And Chris, you said, Ken, when we doing something together? You promised like a year ago, you swine. I don't know what we're doing. We never I don't think we ever set something up. because you had something, you had jazz, and then I had Air Rider Chapter 1, but I thought we were gonna do like maybe either a collaboration piece or an illustration. I don't know what I promised you, but yeah, man, we did that live show together. That's what I thought it was. You said Jack Turkey. What was I saying? Like I look at Angels of the Renaissance. His name is Ralph, and he does like a whole bunch of pages per night, and he says he just treats it like an assembly line doing the pages that he does. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy, because I put so much like I'll be like really precious with the pages or something. Like I'll be drawing them. Like this one I took a long time on because I wanted to make sure the perspective was right and the clothing wrinkles were right and all that, and putting the right textures in the right places so that it didn't look too like off. Some of the stuff I will change digitally, and then I'll color it, but it's like I could be putting in all this time just to make something that really isn't that good at the end of the day. Like I put in a lot of time on this, especially to make sure the skirt was right, because the shines on it is very particular, and you gotta make sure the lighting on it is correct so that it doesn't like flatten out the shape. And then I just drew this kid, however, because he's just kind of in the background there. But I've been drawing him like the whole issue. And then like perspective shots like this like takes time because I'm drawing it by hand and putting it on the page. And I've always wanted to see what 3 dimensions look like on a flat piece of paper, because I would look at my teacher's work at the Kubert School, and they always figured out some way to make their work look 3D on the page. And I was like, man, I gotta figure out how to replicate that effect before I go into digital, because I can't replicate that same effect in digital as well, because it looks in digital, it's like everything just sort of flattens out without you even trying. Let me go to the comments. What'd you say? I heard you say that after this campaign, it'll be a while before another release. Is that because it'll take a long time to do number 3, or because you're taking a break or another project? Oh yeah. No, I didn't answer that question. But let me go to Yoshi. Hey man, what's up? How you doing? Appreciate it. Yeah, another successful campaign. Thank you. Leo Dog, thank you. Let's see. Yeah, appreciate it, man. But no, it'll be a while before another campaign, but not a while before another release. So issue 3 is gonna come out literally as soon as I can put it out. It might be in black and white. I might just do it in black and white so that I can get it out faster. Because right now, what matters is that I'm putting out more story and getting it out to people so that they can read the story. If I want to run another campaign for issue 3, it'll be to actually color it and then put it out that way. Unless I can figure out a way to color it fast and get it out there quicker, then I would do it that way and release it like that. But right now I'm just focusing on drawing so incredibly fast. I'm drawing like light speed, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to sit around and wait and make everything perfect anymore. I'm just gonna draw as fast as I'm trying to draw as fast as DD Mark, dude. Like literally, I look at DD Mark and I'm just like, another chapter is out. It's 30 pages and he's the only one working on it. Hey, what's up, Ichthys? How you doing, man? I appreciate the coloring. Let me actually show that the coloring that you did on the sticker, because I got that in your email the other day, so I was just like, yo, this is dope. Let me see where it is. It was out there on. We tweeted it out there just a few days ago. Let's see. At come again. Official ICTH Y5. Let's see if that'll pull up. Come on, come on, come on. Nope. Let's go to latest. Okay, dope. Awesome. It pulled up. Let me pull it up on screen. Present. Ictus, I think I know what you're talking about. There's this thing called what's it called? Ice Cream Man, where you can lasso tool things and then ink it faster. But if you know something else, or if you know, or if that's what you're talking about, and you know a direct link to how to use it, I actually haven't figured out how to use it yet. But if you can send me something like that, that would be dope. Let me present my screen, share screen, share screen. Here we go. Dope. Oh yeah, and it's a little what do you call it? Process video. That's dope. Yeah, and he was referencing Sonic Riders. Nice. Yeah, this was my favorite part. The splash effects in the back. That was the best part about it. It was just like it just added that little extra pizzazz to it, you know what I mean? And that's the finished piece there. Dope. I'm actually the sticker design that I did on the actual campaign isn't actually finished. Let me go to the share this tab. Isn't actually finished just yet. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a what do you call it? I'm gonna put like a little logo or something, like a little design on the skateboard, so that it's not just like a flat color object. Okay, there we go. This is the version that I did. So I'm going to put like a little like something that says air or something like that, you know, just to add a little something to it so that it's not just like a flat sticker design. Because that's what the Sonic sticker looks like. It has what do you call it? It has like a little logo on his skateboard to make things there. Let's see. He said I do have a custom paint bucket tool that I can send you the DM of the process. Yeah, that'd be dope, man. Yeah, he said, yep, ice cream man, yep. Being a perfectionist is a momentum killer. I'm going to try some techniques in the future to speed up my process too, because our production takes way too long and we ain't getting any younger. Yeah, that's exactly it, man. Our production does take long. And yeah, that's really what I'm trying to do. Like I heard of these are the fastest guys that I think about whenever I think about like drawing my own comic faster. I think about Draw and Talk, Tyler from Draw and Talk. I think about DD Mark, Ralph Angels of the Renaissance. He does Under God. And I think of Martial Arts. That's not even his name, but it's Martial Arts. That's the channel. He does Penguin Boy, and he draws really fast. He's got like I don't know how many chapters out already, and I think he's doing it monthly. So Martial Arts and Coffee Comics. He also does like really fast. Gets his chapters out really fast. So I'm thinking, and they all do it in black and white. But the main guy I was thinking of off the top of my head was what's his name? Timothy Lim, who does Common America. And I haven't read any of Common America, but I heard so much about his work ethic and how fast he draws. And it says art. Whenever I looked at it, took a cursory glance, I was like, okay, the writer is Mark Pellegrini, but then it says art by Timothy Lim, and I'm not sure if he's doing the flat color, or I'm not sure if he's doing the colors and the drawing, or just the drawing and then he puts the colors to somebody else. Because if he's doing the colors and the drawing, that would make him some kind of inhuman or a god or something. Because that's that's insane speed, man. Like I can't even imagine doing something that fast and coloring it. And he's not just doing any, let me just actually pull it up. He's not just doing um like flat colors. He's doing this for real. Where, let me look in a comment. America. Is there a way to just go to their latest campaign or something? Let's see. Y'all can see my screen, right? Okay, dope. Come on, America. Kickstarter. Let me just write that. Is this the latest one? Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Wow. They got 28 hours to go. And they make a hell of a lot of money just because one, it's a good product, and then they also make it super cheap to get into the series. So it's like, what do they try to? They keep it at $10. That's insane. And they said that's a price point that they worked out with their printer to make it work for, make it profitable for everybody involved and all that. So it's like easy to get into the story, and you can just pay $10 and you're in there. But let me see. And they put out consistently too. So it says art by Timothy Lim and written by Mark Pellegrini, but then who else is doing the art? I don't see and if anyone else is doing the art. And I'm looking at all this stuff. This is all like this is solid stuff. Well, it's like what's the word? It's like a simplified like anime style where you can like put colors on there, and then it doesn't have to be like super detailed. Like you could just put two shades, like the base color and then the shade color, and then that's it. You don't have to go too in depth with it, and put some gradients or some like stuff in there, and you're pretty good to go. Let's see. And it's hard to go that fast and then make it look this good. So let me see if there's anybody else drawing it, because that would be insane. Let me go back to here. He said, I heard Tim Lim does the entire thing himself, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure either, man. I'm trying to figure it out. Let's see. Tyler's production speed is insane. I swear, every time I finish a page, Tyler's dropping an entire campaign. Yeah, he has so he writes a couple of the books and he draws for a couple of them as well, and he assists on doing some of the finishes for a couple of the books. And then I think he draws the Girl with the Megafist pretty much all by himself. So he's just working away at that. And every time I see them, like any of the people that I mentioned, just drawing on their stream, and I'm like, man, I need there to be the perfect mood, and I need to have be in the right room, and just get settled in before I start drawing. And nowadays, like, fucking, I'm just gonna start drawing faster like them. I'm gonna draw at work. I'm gonna draw whenever I have like a spare moment. Anytime I can get down to it, then I'll just do it that way, instead of being like precious with everything. Because I do want this to come out on in a timely manner that people can be like, oh, okay, I can expect a new chapter from Ken, or I can expect a new chapter of Air Rider to come out. Let's see. Yep. Let's see. Ichthus, I'm thumbnailing pages for the Gators book so that the artist has an idea to make this turn around faster for the artist. Right. Yeah, that's true. Leo Dog, he says, I'm trying to get faster too. Yep. Koba's Lookout, he said, I just finished my second comic of this year. I draw pretty fast. I just want to get my skill up still, but that just comes with time. Yeah, that comes up with time for sure. And once you get your skills to a certain point, you could just draw faster automatically because you know how things are supposed to look and how things are supposed to go, and you don't have to worry. Like, you can start a drawing and then you know you'll end the drawing pretty well just based off of your skills. Um, so it isn't too hard to reach the end of the drawing from what you're doing. Let's see. But yeah, all this stuff looks solid. And it's actually kind of a similar thing to what I did with Air Rider, but it's what I did on Air Rider is, let me show you. Full screen layout, or let me make mine full screen layout. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Like, I'd love to see it, man. I saw it the other day on Instagram, so I was just like, all right, let's see what's up. Let's see. Koba's Lookout. 2 books a year is a hell of an accomplishment for indie artists, especially with a 9 to 5. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm okay with drawing slow as long as I'm not leaving up so that I'll be faster in the future, like you said. Yep. Oh, leveling up. Okay. Right. Dope. So what I did with Air Rider, book 2, is, well, I'll tell you what I did with book 1. So with book 1, I drew everything on Bristol board, of course, and then I scanned it in to color it, and everything's rendered out. Like, I basically did what Tim Lim does on his colors for Common America. I really just gave it one basic color. I had maybe a lighting layer and a shade layer, and that was pretty much it, because my style is very cartoony. It doesn't require too much rendering to it, so I can just do a very simple, like, cell shaded type thing where it's not super detailed. All I have to do is figure out the shadows. Once you figure out the shadows, it's like it's pretty quick to make something that looks decent, especially if your style is cartoony or animated. But then in the second book, what I did was I made the first page really well detailed, and focused on the lighting and making it look good. And the second page, so I set the mood with the first page and the second page. I put so much detail in the first and second page. Like, you can't see it on the screen. It kind of looks lame. Like, you can't really see all the details. But even on the tiles in this section here, I was putting, like, lighting on those tiles. So first and second page is good. Even the third page. But then for basically the rest of the book, I keep a very simple, flat style. Where I just pick the right colors. This is what French artists do. They just pick the exact right colors, and that way you don't have to shade anything. The shading can be done in the inks or in the drawing itself, but all of these are flat colors except for this, except for this little drawing. That one I'm most proud of from the chapter because it's like a little SpongeBob SpongeBob knot. But everything else is just completely flat. And all you have to worry about is picking the right colors. I did have a flatter on this one, so I paid a flatter to flat the book, and of course they chose completely different colors, like, obviously, but then I just changed it to be what I want, and then occasionally I would add a gradient. A gradient goes a long way to making things feel more atmospheric or give it more depth without having to do too much. So these are all pages from issue 2. And I think I'll do the same thing with issue 3. So whenever a character is being introduced, I'll probably, like in this case, like whenever a character is being introduced, I'll probably bump up the rendering and make it more like good. And then whenever it's just a regular page like this with the characters just kind of horsing around, it'll just be like flat colors and minimal background. So I think that'll work out in terms of speeding up the process and getting things to go out faster. If I can figure out a way to just take a week to color, or maybe even shorter, if I can find out a way to speed up that timeline, make it take less time, then I would do it in a heartbeat. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with issue 3. The last few pages are done on, I did them on copy paper at the size of a Bristol board page, so then I scanned it in to ink digitally. So I've been inking the last few pages digitally, and then I'm gonna do issue 4. I'm gonna start issue 4 literally next week or the week after, and start drawing on that, or do a layout or something like that. I'm just gonna get it done a lot faster than before. Let's see. Koba said, "What takes you the longest in my process?" The longest? Probably taking the page to a finish. Like inking is relatively fast for me. Like getting the inks done is relatively fast, but taking it to a finish to where it looks good and presentable to me, to my standard, is like, I think that's the part that takes the longest. But then in my mind, I'm thinking like it's most likely laying out the chapter that, no, laying out the chapter isn't the longest, but it's the most mentally taxing, to where I'm just like, oh man, I just got to get this done. Like, because you can't listen to music, you can't do anything, you can't listen to podcasts or anything. You just have to figure out where everything goes on the page, and that's the most important thing, because it's like the storytelling aspect of it. You have to figure all that out and how the actual story is going to go. I think that's the hardest, most taxing part, especially when like you're a manga artist who's doing the writing and the drawing. That's literally the most mind intensive part, which is when you're laying out the story and how every beat is going to hit. That's definitely the hardest part. But the part that takes the longest, if I was rendering all the colors like I did on issue 1, it would be, that would be the longest. If I was rendering it out and doing all these layers and trying to do the effects, that would take the longest. Because I'm a colorist, like professionally, and coloring still takes a long time for me. I haven't figured out all the shortcuts because I'm not like I'm not consistently doing that work. So yeah, that's the part that takes the longest. Appreciate that, Leo Dog. Yoshihiro, he says grayscaling, coloring every panel. Grayscale gang. Coloring every panel takes too long. Yeah, it really does. Because I was always thinking under the mentality of a web comic artist, not a webtoons artist where they're doing like manhwa that like flip and scroll. I was thinking of like in the classic term of web comics, where you post a page or 2 per week, and people just got to be happy with that, because you have you're running your own website and you just post a new page, and people are like, oh wow, this is great. And then they wait a week and then you post another page. And then there was one extreme example where this one guy would post a page every 2 weeks. His name is Aaron Diaz, and he makes this comic called Dresden Kodak, and the pages are actually really lush and painted and they look really nice, but every 2 weeks is like, damn, when is this story gonna end? You know what I mean? But I think he makes a living off of it. I don't know or she actually. They changed. So, but yeah, it's I was trying to go for the classic like webtoon or webcomic style where you just draw a couple pages per week, um, and do it that way. But even that schedule I couldn't keep up with because I never. One is that for me to be like super consistent with something, I have to be getting paid. Like nobody has to tell me to go to work every day. I just do it. I just go to work because I'm getting paid, and if I don't, I'll starve. So I just have to do it. I have to keep going. So what I'm trying to do is treat my comics like I treat my job, to where I'm just doing it because I know I need to do it in order to survive, as if I'm making a living from it. I need to treat it now like I'm making a living from it so that it becomes the thing I'm making a living from later on. Because right now I'm not making a living from it, but I think the more I put work into it, like the faster I can work, the faster I can get to the point where I'm making a living from it. It's like even Ralph. Ralph, he has a full-time job from Angels of the Renaissance, or uh Tim Lim. He has a job. He has a full-time job. So he's not working on comics full time, and he has a full-time job by choice. He's just able to crank these pages out quickly and efficiently. He just figured out the way to do that. So I'm like, my job's not even that mentally stressful. I should be able to put out my stuff much faster than I currently am. I just have to figure out the tricks that work for me and the time management things that would work for me to put it out. Let's see. Storyboarding is my least favorite but hardest part. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is my favorite but hardest part. Yeah. Storyboarding is like that time where you have the freedom of imagination to put everything out on the page, and you can come up with all this stuff and get inspired and put it down. But then it's like, okay, a lot of it is like brass tacks. You got to figure out how to make this make logical sense. Things can't just happen for no reason. You have to order them in the right way so that it flows, people's eyes flow across the page, and then read the next page and read the next page. Um it's just a whole nother task that you got to do. But then once, if you do it correctly, then making the actual pages will be a breeze because you'll just have the blueprint on hand to know what to draw, and you can just do it quickly. Master Panda, he says. Yeah, thumbnails are a huge pain. Anything involving composition and figuring out the flow of the story is so labor intensive. Yes. Same goes for me. No podcast, no live streams. Yeah, only ambience. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe music, but even that is like pushing it, because then my head starts bopping and I get into the music and I forget that I have to tell a story. So uh even music I keep out of it. As long as you got that ceramics hydrotechnician. Oh, you remember the term. Nice. You still got some income while you work on your comic. Hopefully you'll be creating full time in the near future. Yeah, I actually do have some people who are interested in a different idea of mine, and I haven't mentioned anything about it outside of my newsletter. So I only mentioned a little bit about it, but I don't want to say too much because sometimes a lot of deals in comics falls through. So even if you work something out with somebody, it could just fall through in the next week because of an economic downturn or a flood hit them or whatever. And none of these things are set in stone. So even if you have some kind of interest in what you're doing, uh, you could just lose momentum, somebody could die or whatever, and then it just falls through. Like, you have no idea the amount of ideas that don't get made just because there wasn't enough money or funding to put into those ideas. um like, Air Rider was made off of pure, I guess, I would just say I had time and I had energy. And really, if I want to finish Air Rider, it's just going to take more time and energy. I want to actually start finishing it monthly, and I'm telling you now, it's just going to be 8 issues. This first, let's say, this first version of Air Rider is just going to be 8 issues. So I got 2 of the 8 done now, and 3 is almost done. Then it's gonna be 4 or 5 more after that, and then I'm ending it. I'm gonna end it at 8 issues because the current version of Air Rider is not up to the level of maturity that I've reached as an artist. So in terms of writing, in terms of skill level, in terms of things that I know about how to draw and write and all that, it's not on that level. Because I started a long time ago when I was 17 when I first came up with the idea, but then drawing this first comic, I was like maybe 22. So um I'm 28 now, and it's been a long time, but I didn't have the, what do you call it? I didn't know then what I know now. And what I know now is like it factor online is more important than having a good story. It really is. Like when I look at Dandadan and how it's so popular now, I'm like, how is this popular? Everyone loves it. It's probably because of the main girl character design. Everyone loves that, and they'll do like their fan art and all that of it. But I'm looking at it, I'm just like, man, this doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like the characters are doing what human beings would actually do. And I can't believe in the romance because it's too convenient. Um, but I'll probably get into that some other time. It's just that it factor. It has that it factor. That's the thing. It has the it factor about it that people are just like, there's just some reason I really like this story, or I really like this character, or I really like this design or this art. Um, and the creator, I think, was a former assistant of Tatsuki Fujimoto, the creator of Chainsaw Man. And for some reason, they're blessed. Whenever they come out from working from Tatsuki Fujimoto, they just have the ability to get serialized, and they just come out swinging. You know what I mean? So, uh, Chainsaw Man also has that it factor, but it also has like good story along with it, so that you're just like, oh wow, you're like pulled along through the whole story, and you want to see more of it. And I loved it way more than JJK, but JJK also had that it factor where people like it for reasons they don't even understand. Like I have no idea why people like JJK so much, because the story was just not there for me, but people love it, and I'm just like, why though? What is it about it that you love? And I understand, because I love this show called Airmaster, which is just about this girl named Maki. I forget what the last name is. I think it's Aikawa Maki, and she just likes fighting. Like she just likes kicking the crap out of people, and that's really it. That's the only thing. She just get people just challenge her out of the blue for no reason, because she's the strongest. And so everyone's just like, all right, I'm gonna beat Airmaster. And they all just come out the woodwork to fight her. And that's literally the whole show. And it's really fun just because of the posing in the show is so unique. And then the way they convey action is really interesting, and eye catching. There's like, they got the fan service shots and whatnot, especially in the first few episodes. But I'm in the later episodes right now, and really some of the fights aren't even with the main character. Some of them are just between other characters that we've seen fight before, but it's still really like engaging because of the way that they're fighting and what is involved in it. It's just interesting to look at, but it's not popular. It's just like it's not something that everybody's watching or everybody's reading. It just has that it factor that appeals to me, my specific like sensibilities and tastes. I really like their expressions, how intense there are, and all that. And it's fun to watch, but it's not something that's for everybody. And I don't think I can make something that's for everybody exactly. Like with Air Rider, um, let me see. With Air Rider, it's not something that everybody's gonna be into, or it doesn't have that it factor, like this anime factor where everybody's just like, oh yeah, we love it, we love it. You know what I mean? It's just it's its own thing. Like it's its own like kind of weird, like he's got that mouth thing that you would see in Codename Kids Next Door and all that. But then the aesthetics behind him are kind of like, you know, they're not something you would normally see. And that's what I've been trying to aim for in terms of drawing style. Like this is the first time I feel like I nailed it, where I have a cartoon character in a background that's not exactly um how do I describe it? That's not exact that doesn't look like what you would expect a cartoon character to be in. I think I'll find a way to describe it. But what Yoshihiro says, nothing will ever hit the way DBZ did though. DBZ, I think Naruto did, and Demon Slayer did, and One Piece did. But DBZ back in the day, like I think it was just okay. Is that I take that back? JJK sort of hit like DBZ. Its brutal violence was just enough plot to make the fights and techniques interesting. Yeah, it was like to me, it felt like a dumbed down version of Hunter x Hunter. It felt like a less smart version of Hunter x Hunter and a less stylish version of Bleach, where none of the girls had any kind of design appeal or anything. It was just like looking at cardboard. And then the fights, there would be new rules every single fight. So it was like, nigga, I can't I can't follow what's happening here, dude. Like every time you get a handle on the rules, it's just like, and this extra rule allows this one to be reversed, and you can top that with doing this. And if you say the power, it'll actually make it stronger. And that came from the bomber from Hunter x Hunter. They only used that once, where the bomber actually explained his power, and by explaining his power, it I think it made it stronger, or it made it activate or something, to where it didn't have the drawback, but it still allowed you to exposit to the reader what his power was, because it was I think it was pretty complex power. But yeah, the Gege Akutami, he took that and ran with it, and he made it into like one of the defining aspects of his power system in the curse, sorcery and whatnot. But my favorite thing about JJK's like power system and its whole thing and whatnot, it was the domain expansion. Like that's something I think he also cribbed that from Hunter x Hunter in a way. But Hunter x Hunter was never using, it never did domain expansion like what JJK did. Domain expansion in Hunter x Hunter was more like, I created a space that's somewhere in reality, but it's separate from where we were before. And this space has its own rules, but it doesn't have anything like a sure hit effect where it's gonna definitely kill you if you're in that space. But we're in this space now. You have to follow my rules and all that. So like where G2 was fighting Moral, there was that grassy area where it was just like a painted sky background. That was really interesting, but it didn't have like a sure hit effect or anything. Like it was just it was basic. It was the basic concept of the domain expansion without actually being the domain expansion. And then what's his name? The guy with the glasses. It was Moral, and what's that guy's name with the glasses? It's not hitting my mind right now, but the guy with the glasses, he could make like portals, and then he could take people to a room with like a dimension, or it wasn't a dimension, but it was like a room that he could just teleport to that was underground, and it had 24 separate boxes of space that he just created. That was his power, and that's really his only power. Like it was you could like go into that space, and you could just have like medical equipment there, set up a room, or you could just hang out there. If you had like a some video games or whatever, you could have a room there for games. Like that was his quote unquote domain expansion, but it didn't have any like gay ass effects where you could just sure hit like that stuff is what's the word, that's almost like a cheat. Like you get somebody in their your domain expansion, and you could just automatically hit them no matter what you do. Like that's kind of a cheat, but that was still the best idea that came out of JJK, because it was a really fun and interesting mechanic that that he put in there. But yeah, JJK had that it factor where it was just like interesting, like people just couldn't get enough of it. So it factor doesn't work on everyone. The only thing that really sustains it is good writing. Let's see. D Nazilla, he said, yeah, JJK and Cursed Energy would have made a lot more sense if it had an introductory arc like Heaven's Arena or Greed Island, which established the fundamentals. That is so on point, man, because Cursed Energy didn't have a foundational thing, a foundational basis to really tie the other ideas to. So every episode, a new rule or a new rule to the power system would be added, and you just be like, I guess that's part of the rules now. You could just do that. People have a lot of problems with like what they call like heavenly restrictions or stuff like that, where you could just make up whatever restriction that you want, and then you'll get a power boost or whatever. But because JJK didn't have that fundamental, like if you look at Nen, there's that fundamental 6 thing where you have like these are the fundamentals of Nen. They didn't have, JJK didn't have that, so it's just like I can make up a new rule anytime I want. It was like Nen, because it was limited by its similarities to Nen, so it didn't have the foundations that Nen had to make the rest of the Nen power system work. That was my problem with the JJK system there. Man, span of your comment. Okay. The tiger guy, yeah. Isekai at max level. Oh, Isekai at max level. Okay. What's the discussion? It's about it factor and comics that people are into that just for whatever reason everybody's into at the time. And we're talking about JJK and how it sucks. But let's see. Oh, hey, what's up, Dragfang? Hey Ken, how you doing? Also, did you check out Martial Arts Penguin Boy? And how's your comment coming along? Yeah, man, I checked out Penguin Boy. I was talking about him earlier. Oh yeah. He said it's called a binding vow. Heavenly restriction is a different thing. Yeah. Binding vow. That was what I was thinking about. Yeah, binding vows and all that stuff, like all those rules that were just kind of added in to the point where even in the final chapters the author was explaining how the power system worked. Like I was just like, I was getting really sick of it, especially during the Shibuya arc, where the power system just seemed like a third character, like a third main character, where everything would just be like another thing that would be another tidbit about the power system. Is like, man, I don't care. I just don't. like it makes the fights more confusing, and you have to add more explanation to figure out what people are doing. So it's like it doesn't flow as well. But I did like that flashback with Toji and Gojo. That was really good. So my favorite characters were like Gojo, Nanami, Megumi, and Sukuna, because he's fucking evil. He's just he's too interesting. But yeah, that's what I want to say on that. Let me go back to the campaign we're looking at it right now. Dope. Let me shorten the screen. $1,000. Awesome. So I'm gonna do the print that I had. There was a print that I started like maybe when I was still in school, and I never finished it till this day. So I'm gonna finish it because we funded to $1,000. It was basically a stretch goal, but I didn't put it on the campaign because I was lazy this time around. I was just like, I don't want to be on the internet, man. I just don't want to be on the internet at all. Comic-Con. I'm searching up the print so I can show you. Damn it. Oh wait, I could probably just scroll down. Yeah. Oh yeah, see, I was looking at it earlier today, and this is by you, Dragfang. So it's like, there you go. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is the print that I'll be finishing. So what I'm gonna do on this one is I'm gonna probably extend it out all the way to the end. Because if I printed it out like this, it would just kind of look like a postcard where she's just kind of hanging off of the page, and I don't want that effect. It doesn't look good in my eyes. So I'm gonna extend the drawing past the frame. I'm gonna extend it all the way out, and I'm gonna finish these trees in the background. I just need to find a way to do them that I don't have to like render and paint all of it. That would be annoying. And then a way to do the leaves so that they look nice without having to paint every single leaf. There's ways to do it to make it look good. But yeah, this was a drawing I did a long time ago, but it was supposed to be like November themed or like fall themed. So now would be a good time to get it done. And I think I'll be able to get this the campaign out in a timely manner, like maybe by December. But I think I put the due date on January or something like that, January or February, so I don't go too far with it. Yoshihiro, who's the Sukuna of Air Rider? Yeah, that's a good question, because in the first this is one of the mistakes that I made with this first version of Air Rider, is that it's not really, it hasn't really had much superhero stuff in it yet. It's mostly been Air Rider high school drama rather than a high school hero. And that's one of those things that without the editor that I have now, I wouldn't have known that that I shouldn't wait to get to the hero part. I should put it in the first chapter. And there's been no major villain yet. And there's no like major villain like Sukuna that you see in the first chapter, because JJK is written differently than something like Naruto, where in Naruto you don't get introduced to Pain or Obito or Madara until like the second half of the story. Um, until that point, you think the biggest main threat is Orochimaru, and he doesn't even appear in the first chapter. Whereas in JJK, you have the two strongest beings appear in the first chapter. Like they're there. Like you have Sukuna, who takes up Yuji as his vessel, and then you have Gojo, who breaks the entire who breaks the power system of the entire game. So it's like, damn, you have the two strong, like JJK is interesting in part because it's written not in the traditional way. It's written out of order where the two strongest characters just gonna show up and they're there. And the main character is like, well, I didn't really have anywhere I was going with that, but it's like it's not written in the traditional shonen type way. And I think that's what made people interested in it, but then would also make people lose interest in it as well, because it was there would be build up to certain plot points, but then they would get dropped, or it would just be to the point where it's not even like I'm not even interested in this, or the writer's not interested in it, so he doesn't dig into it at all. Drag Fang, he said, "Hey Ken, what are your thoughts on Ben Dunn and Fred Perry and their comics, Ninja High School and Gold Digger? What about martial arts? Were you talking about, and what are your thoughts, dude? I haven't read much of Gold Digger. I only read like maybe the first chapter just to see what it was about. But the I was just amazed with the work ethic of Fred Perry specifically, in terms of he's got like 300 chapters of Gold Digger, and I think he drew them all by himself. He drew and wrote them all by himself. I'm not sure if there's anyone else credited on the creation of Gold Digger, and he just has a big, I think he called it one gold brick of comics that he's just done over the years, and I think he's still going. I'm not sure if he's still doing Gold Digger or if he's doing something else, but he's just a workhorse, and I really admire that in comic creators. And then Ben Dunn, he has Antarctic Press, and I've talked with him multiple times just at different conventions and whatnot. And yeah, he's based out in San Antonio. And the times I've talked to him, like he gave me great advice on how to run a good Kickstarter and what to do and who to talk to, just so that the Kickstarter would fund successfully. And yeah, he's a great comic creator as well. Hey, martial arts is actually here. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? Awesome. Thanks for coming by, dude. Yeah, we were talking about Penguin Boy, and we're talking about specifically, we're talking about how you and Renaissance, what's his name? Angels on the Renaissance. I should just say Ralph. And Tyler from Draw and Talk, how all y'all just draw really, really fast. And I'm trying to get fast like y'all. Like I'm trying to just crank out pages and put stuff out so that people can actually get more of the story faster and on a more consistent basis. Because I think that's what's the most important thing online is consistency and speed. Like if you can put out stuff consistently, people are like, okay, I know I can expect that this is going to come out at this time, and I'll be there to watch it, or I'll be there to read it or consume it. However, if people can put a timer to what you're doing, then you have more leverage online because you're consistent with something, almost as if it's your actual like job. So if you're consistent in the same way you would be consistent with like going to school or going to your job, or to where people can time it as if it's like a TV show supposed to come on at a certain time, then it's like you win, just because you're putting stuff out as if it's a published comic or a published like work. Right now, Air Rider isn't that. I only have like 2 chapters. Once I posted like the second chapter on Global Comics, that was the only chapter that was there for since up until today. I posted it in February of the year before last year, I think. Let me even check that, man. Let me look at martial arts. He says, I believe speed is a decent thing, but you really have to watch your quality, man. That's where it can bite me, at least. Yeah, I have to watch quality as well. Like that's the thing I used to worry about the most, and that was what was slowing me down, which was I was being too perfectionist with it. I think I can go faster and still maintain a certain level of quality, but I was being too slow before, to where issue 3 has taken me more than a year to get done, just because of different like distractions and just being a perfectionist on the pages. So now I'm able to go faster without having to sacrifice quality. So I'm gonna go to, what was I trying to pull up? Or you said, and I have a few old Gold Digger that I found in my dollar bins at local comic shop. Yeah. It's really interesting. What was I thinking about? Oh yeah, I was trying to go to Global Comics. So let me go to Global Comics. Okay, cool. Yeah, I have it on speed dial basically. So yeah, this is I posted in February 28th of last year. Okay, I thought it was 2 years ago. That's at least that's good. And if I had kept publishing on a consistent monthly basis at the very least, then I would have had a much bigger audience for the release of issue 1, the physical. And the subsequent release of issue 2. Like if I was already on issue 6 or something like that by now, then I would have a bigger audience or a bigger fan base, so that I could actually gauge whether I can put out a comic on Kickstarter and that kind of stuff. Let's see. Hey, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I can't wait for Penguin Boy to come out, because I'm gonna grab that physical, because I really need that. That probably the first chapter is probably going to be the only thing that you can fit into a tankobon version. Is that what you're planning? Because that first chapter was like 100 pages, dude. So it's like if you put that into a tankobon, or like, you know, manga version type thing, then that's going to be, I hope there's at least maybe a issue 2 in there too, but I don't know how long issue 2 was as well. But issue 1 was really strong, so I'm like, all right, I gotta see what I gotta just grab the book. um let's see. Ken, would you ever consider switching actual tools and drawing styles to speed up your process, or is that pretty much a no-fly zone? I'm considering anything at this point for speed. Me personally, like, when I think about what would be the ultimate speed or the ultimate version of speed, I think about just doing digital and just being like, okay, I can do this quickly. I can do that. I can get backgrounds and put them in and draw them in like that, or get like background references or whatever, and just slap them on there. But whenever I look at Angels of the Renaissance drawing, whenever I look at Ralph drawing, he's doing it traditionally, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I don't necessarily need to do digital to go faster. And plus, I'm faster doing by paper anyway, just because I've been doing it for so long, for so many years, that I'm used to the feel of the pen on paper. And whenever I draw a line, I only need to draw the line once, versus where if I do it digitally, I have to draw it multiple times to get the right line. And then I can erase and I can constantly like noodle at it and perfect it and whatnot. Versus on paper, I just draw the line, and then if I need to beef it up, I'll use another pen or a smaller pen. Or if I need to take it down, I'll use some whiteout. And that way I don't have to, I'm more confident with my lines just from using like nib pens like this. Let me just show my screen. Yeah, I'm more confident with my lines just from using nib pens like this. The sketching set that you would get from Hobby Lobby, or like G pens that I've gotten from online. It's just that much. Woo! It's just that much easier to draw with those for me, because I've been training those since I was like 14. And I got my second book on how to draw manga every. Let me put that up. Pull that up. Okay. And Dope Martial Arts said there's going to be 4 chapters. Dope. Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. It's going to be a big book that way. All right. And so this is the book I used to learn how to draw with a nib. And I think maybe a decade ago or more, definitely more, like 14 years ago, I looked up online, like, okay, how to draw in pen and ink, like a mangaka or whatever. I probably searched that up into Google, and then it returned a bunch of articles and stuff from people talking about how to draw. Or maybe I saw it in a YouTube video and somebody mentioned, oh, you should probably get the pen and ink book, and somebody maybe mentioned that. I don't know how I find these things, but I found this on Amazon, and this is actually the cover in Japan. That's the actual cover, but they were like, no, that's not gonna fly in America. So at least we got Vasha Stampede on the front, so that's cool. And this is how I learned how to pen and ink. There was these exercises at the very end, and it would be weekly exercises. It was like, okay, for this day, you're going to be drawing this shape. Week 1, you're going to just be drawing this shape. On Monday, on Tuesday, you're going to be drawing this, and do 100 of those lines or do 1,000 of those lines. And I would just do that literally every fucking day to get better at drawing. And then I would, after I finished the quote unquote like training from this book, I just started doing this stuff as like warm-ups and using pen nibs. Like I was literally like look back. Like if you've seen that movie, I just recently saw it and it's great. But that's literally what it is. You're just sitting there reading books, looking at how to draw better, and doing the tutorials, and telling you, like, just figuring it out. And I would just look at DeviantArt tutorials all day because my computer was so slow that I couldn't watch too many YouTube videos, or it would just be too slow to load. It would always be buffering. And I learned from a lot of just like, okay, I got a static page. I just can scroll up and down and read the page, and it doesn't have to load. And I would just sit there all day reading information, how to draw better, how to get better. And if there was something to draw, I would draw it exactly and try to figure it out. And that's how I learned. It was just through DeviantArt tutorials and YouTube videos and improving little by little. Let's see. All right. By the way, I agree with Ken. When you learn to create on one platform, it isn't impossible for you to go the other way. Yeah, definitely. I can do digitally, but it flattens out my work. And I can't really tell if it's as full rounded as it needs to be, or if it's as like 3-dimensional as it needs to look, because it's on a flat screen and I can't really tell. But on paper, I can really tell, like, okay, this looks 3-dimensional and she looks like she's in perspective and it works, and the perspective itself is working and it doesn't flatten out, and it's easy to tell on page because I'm just used to looking at it on page. But digitally, it's like everything just feels flat, and it's hard for me to figure out how to unflatten that stuff. Like even the creator of Invincible, he works. He worked a lot traditionally to make these pages, and everything looks like fully formed and 3-dimensional and all that. But then he switched to digital, I think for his later work, not in Invincible, but in other stuff, and it seemed to flatten out the work a little bit. I think because he was still trying to figure out how to make his style work in a digital production pipeline. He said you just have to learn the ropes. In digital, it's easy to get caught up in perfection. Yeah, CD and scrolling in, like zooming in on your stuff. Yeah, for sure. And why not go digital, like traditional plus digital? Use the tools with the minimal approach, the features, no stabilization pen. basic brush, pretty much draw the way you would traditionally, but with digital tools. That's actually an interesting approach. I didn't think about it that way. I do only use one pen when I'm drawing digitally, because right now I'm just drawing. Let me see. I have my tablet here. I'm just drawing the final pages of Air Rider #3 digitally, and so what I so I have one page here where it'd be hard to see. Yeah, I got one page here where I'm trying to figure, like, this was drawn on a page before, and it actually, some of it wasn't even fully detailed on the page before I put it before I went to digital. There's also and basically I'm just trying to figure out how to mimic my traditional style. Let me see. How can I make it show what I want to? Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to make it mimic my traditional style. And it's difficult, but and it doesn't, it feels like when you put down the line, it doesn't feel substantial. So you need to always draw multiple lines over it to make it look more three-dimensional, or like it's from paper. But it's pretty good at mimicking the look of paper. Oh, actually, I want to get that book, Ken. What's it called? Oh, yeah. It's called Pen and Ink, the Manga Startup Guide. And it'll have stuff by O-Great, did Air Gear, and Tenjo Tenge and all that. And it's really good. Let's see. Said Ralph wants me to try traditional a lot more. He thinks I'd be good at it. Oh, yeah, for sure, man. When you were doing this, what was your main takeaway? My main takeaway from the book, the main takeaway from doing all that was just that what the Japanese do is just by repetition. They're just repeatedly doing the same thing. And what it does is, like, it's fine-tuning the control and handle of your fingers and the muscles in your hand to be able to draw the way that that to pull the lines and the ink that you want to create. So it's strengthening that mind muscle connection of your inking ability, so that you can draw how you think, or you can draw what you envision, and you're just pulling the lines that you need. You're not just scratching at it. I saw one girl one time at my at school. She was using a pen nib, and she was just scratching at her paper like it was a pencil. And I was like, "What are you doing? This isn't. Stop it!" Like, I was like, "You're messing it up and destroying the page. Like, what is wrong with you?" Uh, yeah, that actually made me angry, because she was just like scratching at it. I was like, "Yo, that's not how you use that at all." I had to show her, like, you take it, you put the nib down, and you pull. And what you want to do is you pull in the direction that makes most sense to your hand. Like, you don't want to just pull in any random direction like you're using a pencil. You're pulling the line in the direction that makes sense for your hand. Like, if you're left-handed, you're going to be pulling in a different direction. If you're right-handed, you're going to be pulling in a different direction. And then when you're drawing the page, you want to start at the point where you want to start at the top and then work your way down, because you don't want to start in the middle of your page and then you have to rest your hand in the middle of the page and start working on some other area, because then you're going to smudge something. You want to start at the top edge and then work your way to other parts of it, so that it's so that your hand is never going to smudge over wet ink. So there's all different types of techniques that you need to keep in mind when you're doing things traditionally. But if you understand all of it, then, and you understand how to get the kind of art that you want out of the traditional experience, then you really have nothing left to learn. Cobra's Lookout, he said, did you ever watch Mark Crilly back in the day? Yeah, man. Like, I used to watch those Crilly videos all the time, dude. Especially when he drew 100 anime eyes. I was just like copying literally what he was doing. I was like, oh, okay, so that's how you draw that eye. But he was probably drawing different eyes from like Full Metal Alchemist or like Love Hina or whatever. He was drawing different eyes from different series, and I was just like, wow, this guy draws anime really good. So I was like, okay. And he was the only one at the time doing videos on how to draw like anime style and whatnot. The other guy was like, what was his name? Cartoon, not Cartoon Base. It was his name was Evan Burse and Cartoon Block, I think. And he would be the other guy in the space drawing and doing stuff like that. And then the other one was White Manga. White Manga was there back in the day, and I was drawing his characters for his contest that he would put out. And those were the three biggest guys to me back in the day, drawing online. And I learned a lot from Mark Crillian. He still uploads. It's crazy. I used to watch Mark Crilly, but I kind of fell off. Yeah, he still he still uploads. Let me actually like look that up because he's still up there doing stuff. Let me see, Mark Crilly. He hasn't even changed the name of his YouTube channel. It's still the same name. Let's see. Am I sharing this tab? Okay, yeah, I think I am. Okay, but I need to show. Yeah, this guy just keeps going with it. And he could draw like super realistically for like he had videos where he would draw super realistically, and that was really dope too. But yeah, it was dope. Let's see. Yoshihiro said, "Damn, she's fine." Yeah, those were the days, man. Yup, he was. D Nazilla. Cartoon Block, yeah. Yep. Exactly. He was the go-to guy for drawing comics and manga. Before comics YouTube blew up, yeah, that's absolutely true. And White Manga, yep. Mark Crilly. Dean Israel, you said when you were studying art books, how did you study them? Did you just go through them through the pages doing exercises, or did you stay on one section and exhaust it before moving on? So what I did was there was a point at which I figured out that what I was doing wasn't effective because sometimes I would just read a tutorial or read a book and then retain none of the information. So I had to get to a point where I was even figuring out how to learn better or how to learn faster. And I would look up things like interleave practice or what do you call it? Deliberate practice, things that would actually help me figure out how to learn better. And I learned a term in school called like metacognition and autodidactism, or like somebody being able to teach themselves stuff and how to learn and how to figure out stuff. Like, so I didn't have a teacher for most of this stuff that I was learning. So what I would do is if I was reading an art book, I would want to read or skim it to get an idea of the full scope of knowledge that would be contained in the art book. And if I did any mini exercises or anything in it, I would draw and do it quickly so that I could just move on to the next section and get to it. And then once I completed the whole book, I would be like, yes, or like some kind of like notification would ding, and I would be like, yeah, I got the full knowledge now. Especially when I finished that perspective book by David Chelsea, the how to draw perspective for comic book artists. It was that was a really good one. Once I figured out how to do that, I was just like, all right, now I know perspective. And yeah, I did for the most part. But if there was anything that I wanted to learn more of, I would like learn from the exercise, but I had to see that specific knowledge displayed in several other places correctly before it stuck in my own mind. And then I would have to use it and apply it to my own work. So what I would do is I would do the tutorial, and once I had that knowledge and once I could replicate it on my own, I would go and look at other creators who are doing the same thing, and I would study their work because it was like, okay, this is how they're using it. They're using perspective just like this, or they're using um shapes just like this. That's how they're doing it. And it was like I unlocked the Sharingan a little bit, man. It was like, okay, now I know, I can see, like I can see what they're doing because this tutorial told me exactly how they're doing it or what they're doing to make these things look the way that they look. And I was just like, okay, now I can see it. And when I could do it was like even better because it's like, okay, now I can replicate the results that they're getting. Well, not really, but it's like I had that chance to replicate the same results. Um and mostly it was just learning the fundamentals of the fundamentals of the fundamentals before any trying to learn any flashy tricks or any cool drawings or whatever. That's why my drawings to this day don't look that cool. Like they don't look that amazing or whatever. They just look um pretty normal. And I'll use like balloon shapes or whatever, and like my mentor, he calls them like balloon shoes. Like, why are you drawing them balloon shoes, dude? Just draw them normal size. And it's like I just like Sam Keith. So after you learn all the fundamentals, you can just start making stupid decisions, like style decisions, to make things look more how you want them to look. And a lot of the way that your style develops is in things that you just don't want to draw, or in things that you just aren't good at. So I might not be the best at drawing feet, so I just draw balloon shoes and call it a day. You know what I mean? I don't really like drawing super detailed stuff. So whenever I do draw, it's more like cartoonish style and whatnot. And I would do that in the Kubert school and whatnot. And when I looked at, what do you call Dragon Ball Z? One second. When I looked at Dragon Ball Z, I was like, I was realizing that he's not drawing exactly perfect. He's not drawing like Jim Lee. He's not drawing like Jason Fabok. He's just drawing like how he draws. It's completely a cartoon. He doesn't do all this special stuff or special effects. Literally, it's just in black and white. He barely ever uses tones. And it's somehow the most popular comic or a popular manga of its time period. Like, it's literally that well drawn. So these are actually in color, but they had to be printed in black and white for reproduction purposes. Like, you can tell it's in color because, you know, it has more shading on it, and these aren't tones. He doesn't usually use tone effects at all. So this is what you get in a normal page. But everything's correct because he's using perspective to get across his ideas. He's using perspective. He's using all the fundamentals to get his ideas across. So rather than making it realistic, he's making the drawings convincing. Like, you're convinced of the reality that things are taking place in because he's drawing it with the fundamentals in mind. versus something like Berserk. This I actually just found this just a few days ago. So this is this was a really good find at Half Price Books. Only for like $6, so that was pretty dope. And this is I think the first book after Miura passed away. And so this is completely done by his studio. And that's how you can tell it's done by more than one person, because this is something it like look at it, look at this, and then look at Dragon Ball Z. Is like not it's night and day. It's not the same thing at all. Because it's just the level of detail that they're putting into what they're doing. It doesn't make um Dragon Ball style worse or their story worse. It's just what works for you. That's what style is. It's like once you figure out how to draw, like I have no problem thinking that Akira Toriyama could draw like Berserk if he wanted to, because he knows all the fundamentals, but it would take a longer time for him, and he would just probably not be interested in drawing that way. Versus versus Berserk, he could definitely like simplify his style down to a cartoonish style. Like if you see Puck, the fairy in there, sometimes he'll be like a little like he'll look like a little dumpling or something. He could simplify his style down to Dragon Ball Z level and draw it that way, but then people would be like, why does Berserk look like that? This is sucks, and they just stop reading. So it just depends on the style that you start the story with, is the one you want to continue with. Let's see. He said, exactly, Ken. When you learn repetition and draw continuously, you unlock the Sharia. I said Sharingan. Ever since I incorporated more of the fundamental information, I've been able to push the natural anatomy of things. As I say, you can learn to push the boundaries of art itself. Yeah, exactly. Leo Dog, I guess it goes show more detail doesn't always mean more enjoyment. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I want to rant about these things. I will later. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a good time, man. Cobus Lookout, he said cartoony or stylized artwork goes a long way compared to realistic comic art like Finch Lee and styles like that, in my opinion. Yeah, I like cartoony stuff, and I appreciate realistic work, because sometimes you just need that for a comic style to to convey a certain mood or aesthetic. But cartoony style is just what works with what I like in my mind, and how I like to present my work. There's a certain specific way that I'm trying to eventually one day get to, that I just can't draw right now. I just don't have the time or the skill or like the skill level yet to pull it off. And I haven't drawn those 10,000 drawings that you need to get all the shitty drawings out before you start drawing something good. And I haven't gotten out all the bad drawings yet. Like I have to draw faster just so I can get out all the bad drawings and then get to the point where I can start making the kind of drawings that look like how I want to draw. Master Panda, he said, I prefer exaggerated or cartoony work over hyper detailed, stiff, realistic stuff. There's more life in cartoons than actual realistic life accurate art. Ironic, but it's true. Yeah. I feel that it takes realistic stuff and then isolates it down to its essence rather than trying to try for one accuracy. It just takes it and gives you the essentials, the fundamentals of what you want. So like a style like Strangers in Paradise, she looks well proportioned, like she looks like she could be a real person, but it's still cartoony. It's not actually anime style, and yet it's still like appealing in terms of the style there. And if you look inside the book, it's just black and white, and they're all real, like they have real expressions, they have real faces and all that stuff. It works with what the artist is doing. And then they have stuff like what do you call it? Love and Rockets, which is also cartoony, but then the characters just feel real because of the storytelling that's on display. Like the characters, they're not doing anything like anime-ish. They're not having like crazy battles or whatever. You don't get these super big intense close-ups, but they feel like real people. And for me, every time I open up one of those books, it's like a spell has been cast and I can't stop reading for like 10 minutes because I just want to know what happens in the characters' lives. They feel that real whenever you read Love and Rockets. So let me. And then the other guy, Kyle Baker, he draws like really excellent caricatures, and he's able to make his characters feel like real people just in the dialogue that they say. So like he's got really strong draftsmanship to where he knows the fundamentals really well, but then he also knows how to stylize really well at the same time. So he makes just solid, good drawings all the time. Like this is a real face. This is a real person. That's like a real little baby kid or whatever. And you could just tell from how he draws their faces. And yet he's able to stylize it in a cartoonish way that works perfectly. And these are the things that if you look past anime and manga, like you're able to find stuff like this that doesn't look like anime or manga, but it looks like a caricaturized version of humans, and it's really expressive and solid to look at. So this one's Undercover Genie. I was really lucky to find this at a bookstore one time. Okay, Dean Zilla, he said, do you have any plans for making longer videos in the future, or do you plan on keeping them short as they are now? I actually do have a plan for a Hunter x Hunter video that I want to do in the future, where I'll describe literally exactly how they made the story so strong and like so narratively strong in Hunter x Hunter, because I'm going to use it to explain how Dramatica works. And since I'm probably the only person in the whole manga sphere that's read Dramatica and understands how it works and uses it to write his own stories, I can actually make a video explaining how Hunter x Hunter works with that story. So that would be a longer video. But for the most part, I'll keep them short just because most of them are just going to be ideas that I'm trying to get out there and put out there. And the only time I would really get like super focused on videos is when I can finally like quit my job and then just focus on making videos, or if I use time management to do videos little by little and then put them out, but not on a weekly basis, because when I was doing it weekly, I didn't have time for anything else. Let's see. I love when a series can do both when it needs to, like SpongeBob close-ups versus the rest of the show. Yeah, that's so dope. Looks like Loomis. Yeah, Andrew Loomis. Yeah, those I learned a lot from those books, and they were all free online, so I was just like, awesome, I'm gonna read all of these and learn how to draw. Speaking of Strangers in Paradise, have you read through that yet? I wanted to read that for the longest time, but I haven't gotten around to it. I have not read through the whole of Strangers in Paradise. I read up to a certain point, and then it started to be about like spies and espionage and stuff, and I was just like, but I like what you're doing there before, where it was just about like everyday life and romance and whatnot, and then it just turned into a different genre. So I was just like, just go back to what you're doing before. It was fine the way it was. It was fine as a slice of life, and then it turned into something a little different. So I was just like, dang. And there was a lot of points where there was just like a lot of words where it was like a book or reading like a book or something. I was just like, I can't read this. This is supposed to be a comic book, man. I can't read all that. So that's about the point where I stopped. Because it just had too many words. Um let's see. Loomis only works for realism, not anime cartoon that rely more on shape language over accurate proportions. No, it doesn't only work for realism. It's like you learn it as a basis, as a solid foundation, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Like literally, I started drawing manga and stuff like that after I learned all the Loomis stuff. What I would do is like I would take all the Loomis stuff and literally every day I would just drill myself and draw the same stuff every single day. Just draw the same thing from that I learned from the book. And then after I did the drill, did the warm up, I would start drawing whatever anime thing I was going to do. And I learned all the fundamentals and basics from those Loomis books of how to draw people, how to draw perspective, all that stuff. Because it was just free PDFs online. And I was just like, this is free education, free knowledge that I'm not getting at school. So yeah. Kyle Baker is dope as fuck. Yeah, he is. He's a great artist. Darwin Cook, Jack Kirby, Bruce Timm, Dan DeCarlo. Oh yeah. From Archie Comics. Yep. Piqued my interest way more than super realistic artists. Yeah. Darwin Cook. Oh yeah. Bruce Timm. You mentioned Bruce Timm. Dope. Yeah, Jack Kirby. All of them. Yep. Yeah, I love those types of artists as well, and I think that's just why Air Rider looks the way it does, because I follow those artists a lot, and I wanted to give it like kind of a gritty look that Sam Keith has, but then I like Bruce Timm's shape language. I like Dan DeCarlo, how he draws the characters in Archie, and especially how he draws the girls and whatnot. That was the best thing about his art style and all that. Say, keep up with my channel and dropping video has helped me a lot with sales and building my email list. Yeah, it absolutely does help with that. I was actually doing that a lot more around the time of the first campaign, so it grabbed a lot of people um to my email list and to back the first campaign. So if I were to start up again, it would probably be in this time while I'm fulfilling this campaign. There's a couple of things that I need to do with the like I have to draw the print, I have to draw a cover for one of the stories in the book, but there's not much I need to do before this book goes to print. What I want to do is get to a point where I'm just drawing issues a lot faster, and once I get to a good pace with that and get my time management down, I'll start doing videos again while I'm still going to work, so that I can up the marketing, up everything that I need to do to make sure everything works. If I ever launch another Kickstarter in the future, because Kickstarters are stressful. The first one was stressful just because I wanted to make sure it went off right, and this one was stressful just because it was like I felt like I wasn't doing enough, and I felt like the even if I did do a lot for this one, it wouldn't go like, super high, you know what I mean? Like if like the original launch of this one, it felt like, okay, this might be a dud of a campaign, so I probably should cancel it here. But even if it does fund, I'll be able to send out the books, but then I'll have a lot of back stock left on me to sell at conventions and whatnot. So I decided to go through with it and keep it going, but let it be more of a low key campaign rather than try to hype it up like I was doing with the first one. Master Panda, he said, yeah, man. Dissertations, text walls, and long drawn out monologuing is unacceptable in comics, in my personal opinion. Yeah, I might as well pick up a novel like War and Peace or something. War and Peace is actually a brick, dude. Like it's actually so like thick. Yeah, I just never read it. I can't remember if you mentioned, Ken, do you have a colorist or are you doing all the art production yourself? I mentioned that I had a flatter who works out in the Philippines, so I occasionally commission them to flat the pages, and they'll send them back to me, and then I'll adjust the colors and color them once I'm done with all that. So yeah, other than that, everything is all me. It's just the inking, the letters. I do all the letters and all the drawing and art and stuff. So the only thing I hire out for is the flats, because that's the only thing I can afford to hire out for. Eventually I'll probably hire out for colors and stuff. But martial art, he says, night if I'm not back. Gotta go draw some clothes. Oh yeah, you're doing that 100-day clothes drawing thing. All right, man. You have a great night too, man. Take care, dude. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna get off in like about 10 minutes. I think 2 hours is a good a good time frame. I'm looking for something that I wanted to show y'all. I think it was something that we are talking about before. Oh yeah. I literally have like give me one sec. I found this. Jesus Christ. This is like an actual brick. I found this Death Note all in one. So this is literally 12 volumes of Death Note in one fucking book, dude. It's crazy, man. So I could just read the whole story, just do like on the train, on the bus or whatever, and just carry around a brick with me, and then I have the whole story of Death Note. It's like having the whole anime in your hand, dude. It's really cool. And I just bought it on a whim because it was like $25 at half price. So I was just like, wow, when am I ever gonna find this? I would never really like seek this out online, but like looking at it, just or when I saw it, I was just like, I gotta get this because some other asshole's gonna get it, and they're not gonna enjoy it as much as I will. So I bought that. And give me one sec. And the other all-in-one book that I bought was Bone. So now I have Bone all in one. That's really cool. I got a few volumes that some of them are in black and white, some of them are in color, but this one's all in black and white. So I got the first few volumes in color, and I like the coloring on it, or I like the coloring on the first few volumes, so I had those just on hand. But to have the whole story, I've never finished it actually, but it was really fun. Like it was an actual cartoon. It was as if you could watch it on TV at any point. Like if this was made into a cartoon, like it would be so dope. I just don't know why it never panned out or it never turned into something more. Um, I think it was supposed to be something on Netflix. It just didn't. I don't know what happened. Like they just stopped it or something. Like I don't know, man. People make horrible decisions. Just higher ups don't know what people want, man. Let's see. Yeah, man. I bet if you got someone on colors, you could shave off a third of production time. Yeah, absolutely. I'm planning on doing the same thing one day. Yep. Yeah, affording it is another thing. Like Invincible can afford to hire colors, but for solo artists, it's definitely best to go black and white if you can help it, or if you want to do the webtoon route or web comic route, just go slower but color every single page. That's the other way to do it. Like this one comic called Kill 6 Billion Demons, which I love. Well, I like the art of it. I haven't really read it too much, so I like looking at the art of it. Cool, yeah, I'm gonna check that out, man. I also checked out this Young Wavies comic that came out earlier today, so I'm gonna check out your comic as well. Yep, Bone. Jeff Smith, another phenomenal expressive writer with great cartooning skills. Yep, love his work for sure. Too many studios keep dropping the ball on the bone. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, man. Let me see. Yeah, there was some art that I wanted to show. Well, let me. Oh yeah, it was Kill 6 Billion Demons. So let me share my screen. And then I obligatorily have to show my campaign after just right at the end here. But let me share. And there's so many web comics that are so like good that they can be turned into a cartoon or turned into something adapted into something else. And those creators just made something like really fun to look at, really fun to read. And it just never went anywhere because the creator usually goes into the animation industry afterward. But this creator is one who's like a true comic artist who's just dedicated to the craft of comics and making the best work they possibly can, because this is the quality he's doing now, but he's been doing that since like day one. Kill 6 Billion Demons is crazy. It's insane. Just with let me just go to the next chapter. Like all the other stuff is good. It's even published in what do you call it? It's even published in Image Comics. Like they just took it and they were like, or they asked him like, "Hey, you want to get published for real?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And now it's published in Image Comics. So if we go to like the most recent stuff, like he's mastered his art style, like he's mastered what he wants to or he intends to do, and it just looks really good. Let me see. Previous page. Like, look at this stuff. It's literally insane. And he's doing it all himself, I think. But this is like one of the last few classic web comics that are still going as a web comic. Like not everything is a webtoon. You know what I mean? Like this is this predates webtoons, I think. Comics like this predate webtoons, where it's just posted online and people can read it on your website, and you have to advertise your website on social media so that people can come and look and all that kind of stuff. But that's just how those types of things started. Ava's Demon should be animated by now. Yeah, that would have been an easy sell, but and the Kickstarter campaign made a whole bunch of money, man. I don't know where that went or where the creator went. Maybe they went into animation, but I don't know, man. Ava's Demon was one of those OGs, man. Is one of those old ones. And weren't they supposed to have done an animated series of Lore Olympus on Netflix? And they never got around to it. I don't even know. I never heard of Lore Olympus getting any kind of animation deal or anything like that, but you would have expected it by now. And I don't know why it hasn't gotten to that point or it hasn't been teased or created. Maybe they're waiting on the time. Like they're waiting on the timing, because a lot of marketing is timing. Like you have to time the market, you have to time how people would respond to it. You have to figure out like when is the right time for this to be like made into something more. Is it right at the point where people start forgetting about it, or right at the point where it starts dropping in popularity, or at the height of popularity is when you want to start putting out the anime or the comics, or on the rise to it? Like it's a lot of stuff you got to figure out with the mind. And if you wait too late, it's like people are like, okay, we didn't even need this. It was too late for you to put this out. Like whenever people say like nobody asked for this or something like that, where a series ends and then you put out a movie based on it 20 years later, and it's just like, okay, and the audience for it already grew up and doesn't care. Unless the work is evergreen, where it never falls out of favor, it never falls out of fashion, just because it's so solid of a work that it never becomes something that people will just like, oh, I don't care. Like Invincible is that kind of thing where it's a cartoon now, but it started 15 years ago, or it started 20 years ago. Uh yeah, back in 2003, 2004. And it just kept going until it finished at 144 chapters, and that was maybe back in 2018, 2017. And it's only now becoming a cartoon, and people still like it because it's just an evergreen comic. It's always gonna be good. Same with Bone will get its chance in the sun. It will get its day, I think, but they just need to get on it, you know. Hopefully before the author passes away, you know. EC says, yeah, Kill 6 Billion Demons has been going on for a minute. Yeah, it's got really great art. Yeah, maybe since 2010, 2009 or something. I've always looked at it, but I never like read it fully, and I want to, but I don't know why I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's stopping me. The art looks great, and I want to match the level of art that it has. Like, I want to be able to do this kind of stuff. Um, it's very solid, but I want to be able to do it in a way that that works for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, amazing sense of scale in Living World. Yep. Michelle Kajowski used to work for Disney Pixar, I think, and went on to do her own thing. I'm not sure if she's gone back into animation or not. Usually when I don't see artists on social media or anything, I feel like they're working in the industry somehow. Like whenever they just disappear off of social media for some reason, it's like, okay, yeah, they're in the industry and they're working on some animated project that's not a comic book. Because otherwise, the only reason I am ever on the internet is to promote and sell Air Rider High School Hero. Oh, we got one more backer before the stream ended. Nice. So we're up to $1,009, 30 backers. That's a nice round number. But yeah, thank you all for backing Air Rider. Thank you all for showing interest in it. And yeah, the only reason I'm on the internet, and I think the reason why a lot of other artists who are heavily using the internet is because they need to use it for their business, and they need to use it to advertise what they're doing, especially if they're doing comics and they're making their living from the comic itself. Because otherwise, I mean, if they weren't making a living from the comic, like going to conventions or doing a Patreon or doing Kickstarters and that kind of thing, then they would be in the actual animation industry, or they would be doing commissions for people to where they don't need to post online all the time, or they don't need to be on the internet doing something. So that's the only reason why I ever see somebody just leave the online spaces, because they have something going on somewhere else, and they'll occasionally post stuff that has nothing to do with their art online, or they'll occasionally post some doodles that they did in between their animation work or their assigned work and all that. But if somebody's making a living from their comics, it's gonna be all their comics all the time. Is gonna be posting and trying to sell and all that kind of stuff and building their audience that way. So that's what I'm trying to move into one day. And really I'd like to get to a point where I'm just drawing the comic, and then if I get to a point where I have like a company surrounding the work that I'm creating, I wouldn't be the CEO. I would never be the CEO. I would just be working as the creative director. Because if you're not intentional about that, you can accidentally become the CEO of your own company where you're just making creative decisions, telling people what to do, and say, oh, do this, do that. But then your hands aren't moving. You're not drawing. You're not making your own stuff anymore because you accidentally put yourself at the head of company, at the head of corporate, and you're not drawing anymore. So I don't ever want to make that mistake. I want to just always be drawing the comics, drawing the work, and then finding a way to make money so I can keep doing that and keep putting out better and more high quality work over time. And that's always been my dream, man. And I appreciate y'all for making that possible by buying Air Rider. And I can't wait to fulfill this campaign. And thanks for coming out to this show. And yeah, I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.